Are we on?
Yep.
You got a copy of the agenda, please? Thank you, sir.
Okay, good evening. This is the September 5th meeting of the Board of Water Commissioners for the town of Mendon, Massachusetts. It is 7:02 p.m. in accordance with executive orders by former Governor Baker, current Governor Healy, and affirmed by the legislature. This meeting is being done as a hybrid meeting, both in person and online, and this meeting is being recorded. First item on our agenda is to review and consider approving the minutes for our March 21st, April 1st, May 2nd, June 13th, and August 1st, 2024 meetings. And I would ask that because I was not present at the August 1st one, that if someone makes a motion, they do March 21st, April 1st, May 2nd, June 13th as a group, and then we'll do that August separately.
Before you vote, and I should have put it on the agenda more clearly, some of these are mixed with executive. So I don't know if you want to
Correct.
vote these executives to be released or not. It's all the negotiations on the contract.
Well, I'll tell you, it's
I do have an
unusual.
update on that for you.
It's unusual, because I'm very familiar with this, why don't you let me do the motion would be to approve the March 21st, April 1st, May 2nd, and June 13th public session minutes as submitted to us by our clerk.
I second the motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Well, we need to do it roll call, announce yourself.
Vincent Roy, Commissioner here, aye.
Alan Camp, Commissioner?
Yes. Was that an aye vote?
Yes. Aye.
Okay, Kevin Rudden, Chairman, and I vote. I would ask that one of the two of you make a motion to approve the
I will make that motion.
August 1st minutes.
I make a motion to approve the August 1st, 2024 meeting minutes.
Second.
Okay, and I need to abstain because I was not at that meeting, so all in favor?
Vincent Roy, aye.
Aye.
Ellen Kent said aye. Okay.
Perfect, done.
I'm gonna go back now and make a motion that all executive session minutes
I was going to say, so it's 4/1,
4/1,
5/2,
5/2, and 6/13,
3/21, and 6/13.
and 6/13.
Not 6/13. So 3/21, 4/1, 5/2.
That those meetings still be held in a non-public basis because they contain information about legal matters that are ongoing.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Unanimous.
Okay, just for the record, good
Vincent
morning.
Roy, aye.
Alan Camp?
Okay, and Kevin Bredden, aye. So that dispenses with the minutes.
And then, so when I post these, what I've been doing, I'll redact those red sections, just 'cause it's easier to have one document, and then if we do release them.
And just the update on the law is when we come to a conclusion on all
Yeah.
of those, at some point in the future, then we can consider releasing those.
I think we have to by law after a year.
No,
Oh,
No, I think it's only.
No, they can go in
Claim,
perpetuity.
say,
so for instance, if you had a legal case that stretched over 3-4 years,
okay.
you've got the right to withhold it all. In fact, you may vote not to release them to the public.
Okay.
As long as you go back to them at some point, but the matters we discussed in there are all pending.
I understand.
Okay, Dan, you were gonna give us an update on the open meeting law complaint?
Yeah, so with the last meeting, we discussed two open meeting law complaints. The first was regarding announcing that meetings were being recorded, and the second was an issue of meeting minutes. Jeremy, the town administrator, attended our last meeting. Town council was going to draft our response. I did actually just email him last night when I was doing the minutes to ask him for a copy of the response, but I haven't heard anything, so I would assume the matter has been handled. I think from the discussion at the last meeting, this board has done what it was required to do, and if the complainant decides to appeal, that's his decision, and
Yeah, and just for the record, I've always announced that the meetings are being recorded, but I think I was doing it too early.
that's what Jeremy stating, that thinks that it was happening before we pressed record.
Right, so now it's after we press record, And then on the, getting them done within 3 months, that's something we'll just have to work better on in the future. But again, we have limited staff time.
I think it's a month. Is it 3 months?
I think the takeaway from the discussion we had with Jeremy was his suggestion was within 3 meetings or within.
Okay.
Within 3 meetings, and the reason I say 3 months is we meet monthly.
Yeah. Okay.
But again, perhaps there's a way Daniel does, pretty much caption them, perhaps when we're getting to that time period, one of us can take up the ball of structuring and passing them around.
It's just,
During this busy season at parks. But, you know, it's important, we have Daniel for 5 hours a week.
Yeah.
And if he's tied up, and we know he gives a lot more than that. If he's tied up longer than that, we do what we can.
Right.
But I mean, we'll just have to pay attention and say, if we're getting to the third meeting from tonight, for example, as chair, maybe I should just say, Daniel, give me what you got and I'll pass it out to everybody.
Okay. So as of right now, that everything.
this is now called,
Everything's approved.
yeah, it was just, we had all those executive sessions.
Yeah, we're
Just-
all caught up,
We'll see how long.
a response is being filed by town council, and that's that. Okay, next item on the agenda, review and consider approving any vouchers or billing. The only thing we need,
It's the billing commitment from the billing we sent out.
here it is. Here it is.
You already signed it.
Alan, you just need to sign the commitment for the billing we just sent out.
And I do apologize, I realize I have not had time, I need to sit down and like figure out the numbers for our finances. I'm thinking I should tell you what our final number is for FY '24, but it's been on my list now.
Have we been able to get?
We're in the positive, we're not, but I haven't. it's all-
We also have an active treasurer collector, so,
No, yeah, that's,
I mean, you know,
but I need to sit down and update all my accounts for parks and everything too, and I haven't done that, but we were on track to close in the positive, I don't anticipate a problem. I just, based on what happened a few years ago, I wanna run the reports, get the number, email the accountants and say, this is what I have, do your numbers match? Because that way, if something gets missed or,
Are we certain that we have all the invoices in for the FY 20?
oh yeah,
Okay,
that's long.
so they were all in,
That ship sailed.
everything's been
3
paid,
months ago.
so now you're just closing all the books.
Yeah, now it's more going into receivables, all our bills and, or not
Yeah.
our water payments,
Okay,
that stuff.
I got it.
So I can email you, I just realized I hadn't done it and should have had this meeting.
so, any questions on the billing commitment? We've signed it. I know I got my bill and paid it. I know my bill went up substantially. I don't know if that's because we have an extra person in my house using more water or due to the rate hike, but it is what it is.
So I got a question on billing, did it go up this quarter? Was
Give
it
me a
Yes.
second.
significant increase from the prior year, is it?
It's written on that commitment that I need to.
It wasn't, see, I went up an average of $80.
So that,
But I also had.
So something had to do with the rate increase, I'm just wondering how much was the rate increase and how much was it actually?
so our commitment amount, so again, the consumption,
Yeah,
where's the consumption number? Give me a second. Consumption went from, well, average daily oh no. It went from 287,000 to 369,000, but the average daily consumption went from 3,400 to 3,500 because it was a longer quarter.
right,
So the consumption didn't really change. The commitment went from 50,000 to 62,000. So I would say that most of that is due to the rate hike that we had to do to actually.
okay.
And my other part of the increase, I know, was due to a leaky toilet that, no one discovered while I was resting in Bergen
Yeah,
Room.
this is a 24/7. so-
First day I got home, I heard it, it went through these 4 weeks.
Good line.
You know, I'm coming in with a walker from
Right.
more than a month of Brigham and Women's, and I hear that thing running, I just like, give me a break. Anyway, new business, we have nothing, do you guys have? Or do you have something?
I do have something, it's under 48 hours, but it ties into the discussion on the water contract. It's just very brief. If you recall, we left things off. We had made an offer to Hopedale, which is part of those executive session minutes.
Yes,
Jeremy, the new town administrator, has I believe, met with Mitch Rossetti in Hopedale.
Yep.
And I believe they've had some conversations. I don't know from there, but it sounds like things kind of went silent, but I think there's talks happening, so we'll see what happens, and maybe there's an update for us at a future meeting.
Okay,
I don't think we can get into it in the public session, I don't know much, I just, all of a sudden, I get an email asking me for copies of offers and contracts, I think he was meeting with him.
Now, their town manager is just a couple of years, right, on board over there?
I'm not sure, I think he's newer.
Yeah, I knew he was new, yeah.
Mr. City, the last, before he got that job, he was running his own, grant writing company.
Yeah.
So maybe there's be news we can share.
And I think they hired him like a year ago.
Yeah. I remember my friend Kelly did quite a good job. Kelly, right?
William.
No.
Yeah, because they had the guy, it was Steve Sepp or something, right?
Steve City,
In
retired.
Oakdale. Yeah, he retired. That was a few years ago, I think.
No, I think it's probably
Recent,
no more than 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, we'll see if something comes our way.
Okay, we have a gentleman on from the Whitten Road, Cape Road project. Does anybody mind, so he doesn't have to sit all night while we
No, let's see what we got.
move him up on the agenda?
Yeah.
Dan?
Yeah, so this, maybe you can introduce yourself, but this gentleman's from Blue Water. It sounded like there were questions on the amendment to the easement, and it made sense to just bring it to a meeting and talk through it and address whatever concerns we had. So I guess.
Yes,
Were the questions we're talking about?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
good evening, and thank you for inviting me to the meeting.
What was the name? I'm sorry, sir, for the record.
My name is Sean Baggett. I'm a senior project manager at Blue Water Property Group. Can you guys hear me okay?
I can, Sean, thanks. Sean Bagley?
Sean Baggett.
Baggett.
Yes, sir. And you'll have to excuse me. I'm just getting over a case of pneumonia, so if I go on mute for a moment, it's just to spare you from the sound of my cough.
Understandable. Okay.
So,
Yeah, so again, I can just recap. So we have to amend the easement that we have down Whitten Road to reflect the new water main bypass that was installed. So they had sent over sample language and some plans. And then I think it sounded like, I know Vin, you had questioned the width of the easement.
Correct, yes.
And unfortunately, the existing easement has the same language. The original easement says that it consists of area which is 10 feet on either side of an existing 8-inch water line.
So it's
basically Blue Water duplicated what was there, and
does it refer to a specific plan?
so they provided a plan which I can put up on the screen.
The reason why I questioned the width, because you show the easement coming into the property, and it looks like it probably like a 40-foot easement, because it's certainly a lot wider from the easement that's illustrated on the plan that they show. And I wanted to make sure that there was sufficient width in the event that there's a water main break and the town's gonna go in and do a repair, and then the work may be outside of the easement. So you need enough space in order to dig a hole with a machine
I mean, to
and
me,
get equipment in there.
candidly, 10 feet is not enough to back up a excavator.
No, but he's saying 10 foot either side.
Well, no, well, let me read the language, or maybe.
Oh, you're right, yeah. 10 foot is a joke.
Oh, no, 10 feet on either side.
Yeah, so it's a 20-foot line.
20 feet. Sorry, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, sorry, Dan. You are correct. It's 10 feet on either side of the 8-inch line for a total of 20 foot in width.
And then the other thing that I realized in looking at this that really complicates this, which is going to be, oh, hang on, it's popping up, a problem for town council. There was talk of originally recording an abandonment of the existing easement, but
Yeah, you would have to
Well,
have
so
it recorded.
the thing is, though, we don't want to do that because we only want to abandon the easement on the portion of Whitten Road that Blue Water has purchased,
Correct.
not the portion of Whitten Road that's still owned by Abe Dredge. We probably really should look to renegotiate or revise that easement with him, but that's a whole other project.
So is this a survey plan that was provided? Because ultimately what's gonna be recorded is the new easement.
And then
along with the attachment.
It seems they have
Sorry,
the,
this is tiny, but they said, this is what they sent us, this would be attached to the easement, and then I have the easement document, which I could put up, but it's just.
yeah, what should be recorded is the documented easement, that
The
description,
map.
and that map.
Right.
I just don't know if the language, we may need to work with council, the language in here might need to be something to the effect of that this is replacing the easement solely on the property owned by Blue Water,
That section.
which is that U in the map.
Right. Yeah. And I don't know if it clearly illustrated that either.
Council was concerned at the time that we would record this document and then they might not do construction. And that's, she wanted a separate abandonment, but at this point, the bypass is done. They're flying. So I think we're safe to record this new easement.
I agree, but we want to make
just
sure
think
that the
the-
language is.
Correct.
I just think the question is, it's nice to have 20 feet, but typically you go in from one side, except to dig.
Right.
Is 10 feet, assuming it's down the middle, is 10 feet enough to get
And machine it.
A
That's
side-
something.
well, I know like Roz's little machine can do that
Yeah.
at 10 feet, but if you need a bigger one, is 10 feet enough to put one sideways, back it up as it is?
20 foot is sufficient, but here's the thing, once you dig
Yeah,
a hole, you're pulling material out, right? And when you're putting the material on one side or the other, so then you basically got 10 feet in order to bring a machine around. So if 20 feet is tight, I generally see easements a minimum 30 feet wide. Here's the thing though, if the existing easement that we're replacing was 20 feet to begin with,
I would say 20 feet is sufficient.
I mean,
yeah.
will this also include the right to pass over the driveway? Because I think there's sections where the easement is not, the water line is not going to be under the paved area in the back where they realized there was so much cover that it's like a few feet off of it to.
Yeah, my concern is just, 10, 15 years from now, some of us are here.
Right.
And you might be, but I don't think I will. I don't think Alan will. We just want to cover future.
Well, that's the thing, if there's gonna be any kind of repair work that's done here, we wanna make sure that we're working within the easement and not outside the easement, because then it could potentially open up a big legal can of worms for the town. Because we're working on private property,
That's why,
the water main was not installed in the easement.
should we make it 15 feet on either side? Or-
Yeah, well, I'm with you, Kevin, so 20 feet seems fine, I just wanted to make sure that we didn't go backwards as far as what was the original width of the easement. You gotta use
On the
that.
other hand, it is an 8-inch line. We do know from practical experience.
Yeah. We
We have a vendor today who can use the mini excavator and could stay well within 10 feet to excavate it, find it should.
What type of material do you guys use for the pipe?
Cast iron,
Ductile.
ductile iron,
Perfect,
whatever.
because
Because that's what you use.
there's a lot of contractors using PVC or C900 pipe, and we've already shown that, we've got kind of a
Yeah, so what I
bad
mean,
history with C900.
I can update you on the work that they did and what we've learned,
Yeah.
because they
I feel
now
awful.
know more about this property than we do.
I feel awful comfortable with ductile iron pipe in the ground.
Okay, I'm okay with 10 feet, knowing that a mini excavator can go
I am too,
and do that. I think just the issue is making sure
like
it's,
10 foot either side, yeah, 20,
Yeah.
yeah.
making sure it's only on their land and not on A. Voracious. So
I need to
Well,
follow up with council
The
and
really
have her.
question is, are the valves and keys on their land or are they on the other
The
land?
valves are mostly on their land, let me share a map.
And the other issue is,
Here's the lot lines, so they now own this lot that's 23 Cape Road. But they don't, sorry, I didn't get to zoom in right. This road layout, this is the private Winton roadway.
Yeah.
Blue Water does not own it, Blue Water's claim starts at this property line.
right,
So the easement that we're talking about is just this section down here, but we don't want to modify the easement up here.
right, so what you have to do, and I'm sure council will know it, is the meets and bounds that their engineers just gave us that you had in that letter
Yeah.
a minute ago. as long as they begin after that cul-de-sac, you can amend it, you can do whatever.
And Dan, if I may, I had one thought on kind of combining the easements and not having to abandon anything. If you'd be so kind to pull back up the easement exhibit, where you can actually see the proposed exhibit, I can direct you to my thought. So if you scroll to the right, where it says point of beginning, one idea I had was to perhaps reference the existing easement with some acceptable language to town council that basically denotes that, hey, we're picking up the old easement at this location here.
Correct.
Right, and that's basically where you tied in.
Because eventually when you file it at the registry of deeds, even if it says modifies existing easement dated blank as follows, and then beginning at, and then your description right there.
What I will tell you, what we've learned, I'll just share this other aerial view. The water main is actually in the shoulder of the road where they tied in. It's like pretty much right in this area.
So the water main's not even in the right of way, I mean, in the
Down
easement.
here. Well, I think the easement is on top of the water main wherever it is.
Oh.
The existing easement, because it was,
Now, do we have to abandon it? T is not functional, or?
yeah, well, let me run through what they did. Maybe that would be helpful. I don't have great plans. Sorry, I just canceled the share.
Maybe Sean has some. Sean, do you have any plans that you can
I
share?
do, but
Okay,
they're busy.
okay,
So I don't know if you can see where my mouse is, right
Yeah.
here.
I can.
They cut into the old asbestos pipe and removed, from that point on, it's gone. They have a bend and the joints, and the water main comes down here and does the loop that's shown in the easement. And then down at the bottom, it actually transitions back to PVC where that last hydrant is.
Yep.
So they found in the PVC, they cut the T in, and there's a valve, and that's where it ties into the existing line. And then when they're done removing everything, they're gonna cut, cap, and bury that other valve that they had for construction.
So where they started though, up at the end of the cul-de-sac there, they cut a T in.
They actually, yeah, I did it backwards. They did a T at the bottom, then they built the main all the way up, filled it, tested it, did all that, and then tied it in at the top, and then switched over to it.
Okay,
And now they've gone and ripped out all the old asbestos.
Okay,
so over the top, or over to the right, that's a
At the top, there's no valve.
bend, it's not a
It's
T
a
there.
bend. There's a valve up at the top of Witten Road.
Yep.
That we know now, we've used it a few times, it operates.
Okay,
Then the line comes all the way down, and there's another valve at the bottom, and then there's a third valve on Talbot Farm over here.
okay,
And there will be, I believe, 2 hydrants remain, like one, I forget exactly where they are in here, plus the existing hydrants on Witten Road.
okay.
I think when all this is done, one of the requests I would have, it would be nice to get like a final as-built of just the water infrastructure
yes.
without all the crazy elevations and walls
Yeah.
and busyness
So,
for our records.
If I could for a second, Brian. If council's gonna look at this, I think council and their attorneys and engineers should be able to work out the right language. I mean, my own mind would be to amend the easement filed on book page dated whatever
I agree.
as follows.
Yeah.
Because let's say I'm looking this up 10 years from now, since I do this as part of my job.
Yeah.
You know, typically, you want to trace back, so if it references the past one, and you find this one, you'll know, okay, that in
We need to go find it.
whatever date in 2024, that easement was amended to follow the new line of the pipe.
Yeah.
Here are the meets and bounds description, and here's the layout map of the pipe in it.
Yeah.
And I think maybe you do all that when you get the as-built. We
Okay.
file the as-built with that. I'm sorry to
No.
interrupt you.
What?
The other question is that's the west end, I guess it is. Is there still a chunk of old pipe
They're
that
getting
belongs to the old property? Or is it right at the boundary of the of the
here.
residential property.
So what, I started drawing on this in a thing, let me share this. They are removing all of the old asbestos under where they're building because it's a massive liability.
So where you talked about that T down the bottom of the hill,
So the red is the old, the blue is the new, the two green circles are valves. And then there was another line here, Alan, and a valve that was here.
and that's being removed.
That's all gone. That they're getting rid of all that, all this.
Okay, now, there's maybe 10 feet of old pipe to the west of the lower T.
No.
C900 is plastic pipe they tied into.
So somewhere right here, let me draw it with a different color. Somewhere like right here, where that last hydrant is at the cul-de-sac at the bottom,
Yeah.
that's where it transitioned to PVC. So I assume that's where they tied on and then went through to Talbot Farm to build that.
Right.
Their connection at the bottom is into the newer PVC.
Yeah.
And that's why they were able to do that first without following all the, because it was no asbestos.
So they've connected to the joint that goes up to Talbot.
Yeah, so what they've done is from this point where I marked in yellow,
Yeah.
everything south is no longer asbestos.
Okay,
Um,
and where you have the green circle,
Those are the two valves.
they've tied into the line that comes from Talbot.
Yeah, it's at the bottom, they tied back into the old line, here, I can draw that now, so that's the
Okay,
new,
my
the new
point
line
is
is going through.
If there's another piece that's still on the old property, then we gotta take that into account in the description.
I'm not sure I follow, I think that's covered in this easement though, if you look back to the chart they sent us, that reflects what they're proposing. So this, let me get it to zoom out. Oh, come on. So it ties it up here, goes down this long loop, and then it comes back where it straightens out at the bottom,
And there's no other piping.
and there's nothing else there. Anything remaining is either dead or being removed.
Sean, does that make sense, what we're talking about, working it out with our town council?
Yes, absolutely. I wouldn't think it would make sense to abandon that existing easement.
Yeah, I mean, all you have to, in my mind legally, all you have to do is modify the existing one, which should be filed in the registry of deeds somewhere.
Well, that was what we were.
That doesn't mean it is.
That's what this document is, an amendment to an easement deed, this amendment to easement deed, blah, 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 and so it'll reference all that. And that's been drafted. So if you want, I mean, I think at this point, I don't know if we need to update this, it needs to go back to our council. And then it sounds like maybe, I don't know if you're comfortable voting on the concept or if you want to vote on a final document,
No, the council's gonna draw up the document.
then we probably unfortunately need to wait
Well,
to the next meeting.
she's not gonna wanna take our word.
So, no, the wording is here, but the point is it's not finalized. So you could vote to sign this as an amendment, as discussed, or you could wait and say, I want to sign the physical document when it's all complete, is my point. It either is the same result, or just, I don't know if we want to wait, the next meeting now will be October 3rd, tentatively.
Well, the thing is, we don't have a written document here to review or
And I think
or
that,
plan before us to actually see. We're looking at it on the screen here.
I mean-
Although you did, I know you did send it.
well, let me just make sure that we have all your comments, and then maybe we can get this
As long
finalized.
as it says you're amending
It does.
and it has the date in the recorded book and page of the first easement.
Right.
Which it
That's
does,
right.
pursuant to that date dated.
And all you have to do is say, as follows, from a point beginning, and one of the sheets you put up had all of, then north by this and south by that, from a point beginning there to a point ending there. And once that's filed, it's signed off by both parties, it's filed at the registry of deeds where it's done.
Yeah.
And that eliminates the need to talk about deleting part of the old one, you're just amending it.
Yeah. Sean, I have another question for you, having to do with the actual putting the pipe in the ground there. So you ran the line from Talbot Farm, tied into the C900 pipe, the plastic pipe. You got a T there because you kept the old line live. You ran it all the way up to just before where you're gonna tie it in. So from there, you pressure tested the line, it passed the pressure test, right? What are we holding?
Oh, yeah, it was.
30 minutes for at least,
Waiting, it was
way
hours.
more than that, okay,
It
good.
was solid.
how'd you get all the oh, so you did the chlorine tablets,
So they did tablets, they filled it, yeah,
and where'd you get the sample from?
I had it.
From where the thing was end capped, right? I just wanna make sure that you drew a sample from the end of the line before it's tied into the other end. Which I'm sure it was. Sean, do you know?
No, I don't know, but I can find that out and get back to you.
Yeah, because Dan, you and I kinda talked about this.
Yeah,
It's showing that they, you know.
if it was a problem, it would have been a problem.
Right.
They sent a copy of the test results. I don't know exactly where they sampled from. I'll see.
Okay.
It says, hang on. Please see test results. Just says, Warwick Lab.
Okay, I know, and you witnessed the pressure test too,
I went there.
and you witnessed them taking the sample.
I did not witness them taking the sample, unfortunately. That was done. But I have no reason to doubt any of the stuff that they
Okay. You're confident.
This has been a very legit
Okay.
company to work with.
Right, okay. So one last question now, this crap. So back where they after they got the pressure test and the bacteria results came back good, they tied it into the other piece of AC pipe that went up toward 140. So the AC pipe that goes up to 140, does it not connect into the system at all? Doesn't loop? It's a dead end?
Hang on, let me pull up a system map.
Kevin, you must know this off the top of your head, right? That line dead ends up there, right?
That's where it comes from.
No, it goes right into 140.
I know, but it doesn't loop back around at all.
Down to the site, no.
But does the line run down 140 and
Hang on.
tie back in or
No.
There are no loops in the system.
Okay, the reason why I asked is he didn't put the gate valve in down the road. I'm thinking, well, if there's a leak on the AC pipe anywhere, you gotta.
This is the system. So it comes in at the top. It goes down Hartford Ave, it comes down all the way 140 dead ends, comes all the way down Bates dead ends, loops on Edward, comes down Witten Road, and this is where the easement is.
Yeah.
And then you have the Talbot Circle, goes all the way to Mill River and dead ends, and goes all the way to the end of Talbot and dead ends.
It dead ends, okay.
And up here is where my cursor is, that's the Plains Road intersection where the proposed new meter pit.
Right.
Like this Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah,
Where's his service coming? Is his service coming off the new line that they installed, or is it
which service?
his service for the building?
So what they're,
Hang
hang on, I have those plans too. Give me a minute. Where they tied in pretty much is where it also tees off to go to their fire system. The
Right.
tee is like right below the connection.
Okay,
I'll find it in a minute.
And Dan, I actually do have that if you'd like me to pull it up.
I don't know if you have something more recent than this. Oh, this is 1,200 pages long. Where's the extract?
Sean, I don't mean to be a stickler.
Oh, no, not at all.
It's hard, I can't even zoom in, come on. It's really hard to see, but that's where the bend is. The scale looks different on this than what I think was done,
Right, yeah,
but,
get it,
which is why I think we need as-built when it's all done.
yeah.
But that's the point, so it's gonna come off the new line into their tank, into their building, and then their well field is right next to it.
Okay, because aren't they running a separate fire line or something around with the hydrants, does it go to?
Yep.
This is the fire line.
They're
Okay.
running, so they're running a separate line that's gonna go around the perimeter of the building. And our line just goes around the bottom here.
Right, okay, I get it. Yeah, and so you got high pressure hydrants and regular town pressure hydrants there or something, right?
Yeah, so there's, I forget the exact number now, I believe there's gonna be 1, 2, 3 hydrants on the public water main, and then whatever they have for private hydrants.
Yeah, and they gotta be clearly marked too.
Yeah, we should work with them
Yeah.
towards the end to have, in the fire department, to have them painted different colors.
Right,
Whatever colors.
caps or something, yeah, right, okay. All right, I don't mean to beat it that much, I'm good, I got no more questions.
So let me just try to wrap this up. So this is going back to town council to draft something, correct?
I think I would I'm gonna follow up with Sean to maybe confirm if there's any update we need to make. I think we just wanna be clear that we're only amending the easement on Blue Water's property. But maybe that isn't here, and then it needs to go back to Karis with all the example
Right,
documents.
but all you have to say in there is amending the easement filed on X date and book and page as follows. And the new meets and bounds in the map, pick it up from where it's starting. And that covers that. You don't have to get into, this does not cover.
Right, yeah. So we're not, you guys aren't looking for a motion tonight from the water commission, are you?
I guess maybe my question is, so the three of you are happy with this language, the width is fine,
Yeah, I just want to
As
wait till
presented.
town council gives us
we just need to
something
finalize
that
it.
both sides have agreed on. I have no problem voting for it.
Yeah, I don't either.
But
And that's-
Karis is gonna want to look at it.
Yeah.
And to me, that's dotting the i's and crossing the t's.
Right, yeah.
And, the only issue with working with her is she tends to get backlogged.
Well, I think let's make it, we can make it clear, and I'll actually get Jeremy involved to say, we want this by the
Next
next
day.
meeting, which is the 3rd, in our hands,
Right, but I mean, if you want a consensus of the meeting,
unless we can meet
I think
and
that-
sign it, but
the consensus you're hearing from everybody is get it done so we can read the final document. In terms of the concept, does anybody object to it?
No.
No, so that's the answer.
Yep.
Is we just want to see it in writing. I don't want to approve something and have someone else write it and it doesn't have the,
The things that we just talked about, yeah.
yeah, because I'm digging up, I'm tracing properties back, 4 generations every day.
Yeah.
And, the biggest beef is today's paralegals don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they never reference the previous things,
Yeah.
where they leave it off, and a good deed or filing answers every question within it.
Yeah.
Which is why I want to say the easement dated X date, filed at book and page, recorded at book and page X, is amended as follows, and then you begin just for change.
Yeah.
Because 10 years from now, the only people who are gonna look at that is an engineer,
Right.
or somebody doing work who wants to
So
make
you
sure
search
they.
the property, a lawyer or something.
A jurist guy who wants to sell his property,
Right, yeah,
and they wanna know what happened.
right, yeah, what is the history, yeah.
Right, just like on my own house, I have the deeds going all the way back to when,
Bill,
well, Barrows Road where his parents live, and my house and the 2 houses to the left of me were all farm.
Yeah.
And you can trace it from the farm
Yeah.
to the houses, and that's what I want. I don't wanna go who owned the farm before the people have sold it off
Yeah.
for houses. That's enough to establish their right.
Yeah.
So, the same on here, it's just, you want somebody to be able to read it, so I get it, you wanna give Abe a copy of it. Dredge, so he has one, so
Yes.
he knows,
get it recorded.
you record it in registry deeds and it's final.
Yeah, this is a dumb question, but this other easement is recorded, right?
yes.
Good, okay.
I believe what happened here, because it was done in 2013, I remember being in the basement and Missy dealing with this. I think it was when Rosenfeld wanted to sell to Abe Dredge, all of a
Yes.
sudden they realized they needed an easement for this water main, because Rosenfeld just did it to build his housing. But then needed.
Originally, that was gonna be housing,
Yeah.
affordable housing. The proximity to Hopedale Airport killed that. Because the planes coming in would be coming in
Like
low,
that, yeah, yeah.
and you couldn't have a 2-story house.
Right.
And then he came back, when the housing failed, he came back with a plan for affordable housing, which had 3- and 4-story units, and that was rolled out right away.
Got it all right.
And then it just sat there until these guys bought it.
Yeah, okay.
So it probably sat there a good 10, 15 years.
Yeah, oh shit. Okay,
So I think, Sean, if you understand, we're all in favor of this, we just want to see the wording, signed off by you guys and the council, and we'll probably approve it in 5 seconds.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And Dan, just to make sure I have my actions straight here, did you want me to take the meets and bounds description and take a first pass at adding the additional text, or is that something you'd like town council to do? We're going to be open to whatever way is easiest.
Honestly, I'm not sure. I think I want to send her a follow-up and just explain in more detail now that I'm realizing that it really is 2 separate easements. We're not, so she may, just see what she wants to do.
And if you want to, tomorrow, first thing tomorrow morning, I'll give you an opening paragraph that says as follows.
Well, they are the draft, we have that.
Okay,
It says right here, pursuant to the existing deed dated September 18, 2013, recorded, blah, 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 they did all that. So yeah, maybe I can email Karis and now send her an update and say, here's where we're at. Can you look this over now that you've sent over all this language? Because I assume these meets and bounds reflect the plan that you sent us from this point at the beginning.
Correct.
well, yeah, you have all the verbiage.
So let me look this over and send an email.
I mean, you know lawyers, everybody wants to put it into their wording, then it'll go to your lawyer, who'll change 2 words. They'll argue about the 2 words for a week, and then they'll say, yeah, we're done. And that's called hourly billing.
Exactly.
Yeah, all right. Let me send you an email either tonight or tomorrow
Okay.
and
Thanks.
confirm what we want to do.
Just one last thing with you, I don't know, are we calling this a new easement, or is it an amendment to the existing easement?
So the document in front of me says amendment to easement deed.
That's what you want.
Okay, yeah.
I think when we first talked to Karis, we were thinking it was just a straight 1-to-1, but it's not.
I'm trying to kill one part, or try to do this,
Yeah,
or saying, separate this here. It's just easier to amend the existing easement
I agree.
I mean.
from this point forward.
Yeah.
To these new descriptions, you're done.
In an ideal world, it would be like a 3-part, but that'll take years. I think the other easement is fine, leave it alone.
The other thing is, if you try to kill Abe's part and then redo it, you're gonna get Abe and his lawyer involved. And you don't wanna do that either. Simplify it, which is, we're gonna make it from here on, and that's it.
Right, it's the portion that they own is getting changed. So yeah, actually, yeah.
The one in the state legislature did that in one way, back in the 30s, I think it was.
Well,
They renumbered all the pieces of the state law.
Yep.
Which said, the meaning doesn't change.
well, it's just like they announced now, you can build a accessory dwelling unit, granny flat, whatever you wanna call them, by right. No, you can't. Not in town with septic systems. And it's causing chaos in all the towns with septic systems. Because people are gonna walk in and say, I wanna build an accessory unit now for my parents. And, it's now allowed by law, and if you haven't followed the law, that's great. But if you're in a town with all septic and no sewer, you still have to go before the Board of Health, and they can turn it down if the septic can't be increased.
All right, so we're all done with Sean, and now we can move on?
Yeah, Sean, we're all set.
Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your evening.
And you didn't cough once.
Yes. Nice job, Sean. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next item is going back to the water study.
So I can run you through what I know. So that where we left off, they were in preparation to do the extended pumping test, which is 6 to 15 days, all that. They had a hearing with the conservation for a notice of intent. I believe that is done. The notice has been issued. All the legal paperwork has been done. So now I think the next step is just scheduling it and working from there.
So this is for the extended pump?
This is the extended pump test. That's the next phase. I think at the last meeting, because Jeremy had just gotten a brief from Woodward and Curran, like the day of our meeting. So he had some
Yeah, that was in the
information.
minutes.
I think they were saying October is the target.
Whatever.
So that's good news. Let's see, the bylaws were approved at town meeting, because I gotta update the bylaw document.
Were they approved by the AG?
Yeah, all that, AG's office.
Okay.
So that's done. The properties, sorry, give me a second. Trying to remember, I just talked to Jack the other day. The survey for the Boover property, which is 32 Thayer Road, has been completed. It does exist, he does own it. They are getting the appraisal, and I believe it's actually on the agenda of the CPA meeting next week
Okay.
to pay for this appraisal portion. I believe the target is the fall town meeting for this,
Goodbye.
to buy it or whatever we need to do. I know Jack said he's already talked to council about drafting a document, like a purchase and sale.
Anybody talk to Mr. Boover?
I believe that's part of it. I think when they have the appraisal, they're gonna go back and negotiate with them.
Just remember, Gene,
Yeah,
Catherine is still available, although retired, so
That's true.
she was able to communicate with him.
Tappy. Well, I think Jack, I don't know if Jack was, I believe Jack met with them.
Yeah, and Gene, they brought Gene in
Yeah.
because he's comfortable with Gene. The
There is-
family's a bit off.
Yeah,
There is a another additional parcel. It's the rear wet portion of another abutting property that I think they're also gonna look to negotiate and purchase. I don't know much about it. I heard that the other day, but when I know more, I'll share it with you.
That's
it's because it's within the zone 1.
Yeah, I think it's within the zone 1 and there's just more wetland they're trying to secure
Yeah.
and protect.
It's just interesting, if anybody read this weekend, it's on Facebook today. The multi-area fire departments, led by men in 7 fire departments. They're gonna practice taking
Oh,
water
yeah.
in and out of Lake Nipmuc and shuttling all over. With a note from the fire department saying, as you know, we have very little hydrants. And I was tempted to put a crack in there going, well, they're working on it, but
Yeah.
I just let it go. But it's, this is an important issue.
Yeah, I just want to back up. So you said the bylaws were approved. It's just one
It
bylaw,
was
right?
the
The overlay.
groundwater protection district with the map. Oh, yeah, and there was other stuff that wasn't water, but that was the water thing.
Yeah, that was pretty
Yeah,
much.
Sorry, it's something else.
Yeah.
That means it's so long.
Okay,
What did Ellen send me?
okay.
Bylaw approvals, I know it was the zoning stuff that wasn't us, yeah, amending the map. Groundwater protection
The
district,
guy who lives on the corner of
Attorney General's office approved these maps without comment.
Basin 140 had part of his lot removed from the highway industrial zone
Oh,
because we overlapped onto his residential property.
yeah,
So that was the zoning change that I remember.
yeah.
Trying to think of what else matters for the water study. That's really it. We did, and I meant, at the last meeting, we talked a little with Jeremy, and I think we did point out to him that it's really important that water be kept in the loop and involved when there's decisions to be made, and I think he understands that.
Well, I still believe the first phase should be connected to 140, not go up to downtown.
It's in the minutes, I did follow up with Woodward and Kern and let them know that that came up after they left the meeting. Whenever we follow up, when we have another bigger update, we can check in, but I think that's a.
Because I'll tell you, I may
Get the
be,
water first.
I may be 80 by then and barely able to talk. But I want to make sure that people realize it is to this town's advantage to get rid of Oakdale as quickly as possible. And making that the last phase of the project is just dumb.
It is, I agree.
And I know who drove that.
So Kev, I don't think you were here when we had the town administrator meeting.
No, I was in the hospital.
Yeah, you were hospitalized.
Didn't even know there was
Because
a,
he had made a comment about how we're gonna put all this on the ratepayers, and it's like, whoa,
yes.
you've got how many ratepayers? 152 homes that are connected?
No. You put it on the ratepayers of the new system. If he thinks it's going to existing ones, he's being misinformed, but then.
Well, I corrected him on that, saying that you just can't do that. It's a multi-million-dollar project.
He's brand new,
Yeah.
and right now he's being educated by the Board of
It
Selectmen.
seems like a nice guy, but
Okay.
I wanted to set him straight.
And I'll just tell you, if he's being informed solely by the Board of Selectmen, you have dumb or briefing dumb.
Yeah.
So I believe Jack and him met with Woodward and Curran and Scott Salvucci and kind of went over the project with him. They've been bringing him up to speed on different things.
Well, the
So I
issue
do think he had a
should-
good discussion with them.
The issue is,
I should hear.
once they do these extended pump tests, we need to be at the table for all of it from now on.
I agree.
You can't have a system designed or cost forecast done without us being involved.
Actually, so, sorry, there is the other update, which unfortunately, when you were incapacitated, they did have a meeting with Jake Ocean's class.
Often close.
And so they sat out, part of it was talking about the senior center, but he did sit down with, Jeremy, Elena was there, Mike was there.
About the water
And
system.
water is on their radar, and I think it
That's
was,
fine.
I mean, I think they're limited in what they can do, but I think it's on their radar that this is an issue in this small community that,
Yeah.
And I mean, related to, they talked about how it limits economic growth and limits housing and all that sort of stuff. So I'm not saying that it gets us anything, but at least they're talking, because Brian Murray was there.
Yeah, and I just think people need to realize that putting, a connection to the 140 loop or unit that lasts just decades long. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if they prove we can get water there, the first thing we want to do, we're close enough to run a line over here, tell the hotel to go pound sand, we're done, and set a realistic rate for our people.
Yeah.
Which should be lower.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my own personal feeling, but
No, you're right, Kevin. It should be,
the
the
design,
rate
that's,
should be enough to cover the operational cost and a little bit of extra money so you can
Right,
build
but
capital improvement.
the idea of phasing in the system and where it should go first was not given to Woodward and Kern by us. It was listening to another board, that it was that board's wish to have that go. And that's okay. You want to get downtown, have water, you want to run it up North Avenue, you want to be able to get water to the restaurants on 16, that's fine. Still need to get us off Hopedale, and if, making one tiny run this way is part of phase one, that solves a huge problem with us right away, and it might give you a rate example to sell to potential customers.
Like, some of that was presented in that study with that was the phase 2 report where they did some preliminary financial analysis.
Well, for the life of me,
But
unless you get a lot of grant money to put this thing in, you're gonna be having people paying betterment fees. And the betterment fees typically range by your frontage. And, the newer houses have 200 feet of frontage, the older houses going up Providence Road don't. But if you're paying 200 feet of frontage over 20 years, you're paying off a big nut. I mean, you are paying off the cost of running that water main past your house. And you also have the right, whether they tie in or not, to charge them for it. And that's gonna cause a lot of consternation in this town, and people might vote it down based on that.
That's just one piece of the infrastructure too, Kev. As you know,
Well, you have
there's
the
gonna be
cost,
significant cost of constructing a well and the treatment that's gonna be associated with that water supply.
and the staff,
The staff, and then the other thing is, Kev,
you're gonna have a full-fledged
you're gonna
water.
construct a water tank.
Yep.
Because you're gonna have to pump water somewhere in order to get pressure.
That's gotta be figured into the overall cost of assigning people.
Yeah.
So the betterment fee might not just be the true cost of running from point A to point B on your boundaries, but the betterment fee might include double that to pay for the rest of the infrastructure.
Yeah, they have to go after, the town needs to go after all the federal money they can. There's all kinds of money to small towns like us.
Unfortunately, Auchincloss is brand new and has no clout.
Yeah. But this engineering company does, there was another.
yeah, because you brought up a grant.
I brought, yeah.
There, I mean, I think they're looking, and we seem to be getting every grant we apply for. I don't know the status.
Well,
If
I
they
also-
apply for another grant that we
What I
should
also
apply
want to
for.
do is depending on how.
There's a lot of other grants that are available for communities just like us.
Depending on how the November election goes, if the Democrats get control of the House again, the chairman of Ways and Means, which used to be Richie Neal, who was our rep till they gerrymandered, Richie controls all purse strings, every dollar coming out of DC. And he's a personal friend.
Yeah.
And I have no problem calling him up and saying,
Help us out.
no, look, call Auchincloss and say, you and Richie need to sit down.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and they want to be able to do that because it looks good for them too with their constituents, right?
Well,
They get elected.
plus the fact, I mean, I hate to say this, but if the Democrats take the win and take the majority, they like to spend money on infrastructure, which means there'll be another
Yeah.
couple of trillion available. As opposed to the other guy, who I'm not making sides in this, will cut back programs.
Infrastructure we that never generated a bill. I recall.
Well,
How many times did,
The best chance we're gonna have to get money since we had that opportunity in the 40s, so now's the time to work on it.
and you had the opportunity in the 60s under Johnson, when the EPA was funding
wastewater projects up at the
And water.
for the clean water.
towns only had to pay 5% of the cost. And I remember the late Kenny Taylor telling me, this town turned it down like it's by a 6-5 vote in a special town meeting.
That's crazy.
because they were afraid the town would grow if they added water.
Yeah.
And I'm like, guess what, guys?
Yeah.
It grew without it.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how much less it would be for your development? If instead of an individual well drilled on all those homes, you could have a water main?
Yeah, fire protection, all that crap now.
All I remember is when I bought the house on 140, went to my insurance company, we're going down the list for the home insurance, and I says, Mendon, mark that up, no fire, and the rest, I said, nope, I got it.
True.
And I brought in a photo, and I said, it is exactly within 200 feet of my house. It is at 198, I had it all measured. And, most people don't even know they're paying a premium for not having hydrants in the water.
And I had the same going on when I bought our house.
You have to bring it to their attention, because all the insurance brokers in the area are amended, it automatically, you don't qualify for that discount,
Yep. All right, what do we got left on here?
nothing. Water lien update,
So let me just look at the thing. Yeah, I just put that as a placeholder. I went and talked to Sherry the other week, just to kind of check in with her and figure out what she needs by when for the water liens.
she's never,
Yeah, she's great. I've worked with her a couple times to get her set
that
up.
was getting my right arm cut, she was
Yeah.
my assistant. That was getting my right arm cut off to lose her to Minden.
We had to lose Jean. I think we got somebody good in place that is definitely
Well, I look at it this way,
willing
I'm
to.
an elected member of the Board of Assessors. My job was to find the best qualified person we could get. And secondarily, she's been using that software for 30 years, so there's no training involved. Third of all, she has 30 years' experience, and fourth of all, she committed to the board to stay here till she retires, which is in another 15 years.
Wow.
And those factors made her the ideal candidate. We only had one other applicant, but those factors made her the ideal candidate. And then I had to step back because I couldn't vote on it.
Yeah. She lives in town too?
No, she was in East Bridgeport.
Yeah.
But let me put it this way, she walked in Holliston 3 years ago in May. And other than having to learn our software program, started immediately on everything without instruction.
Yeah.
And my job was to train her to replace me.
Yeah.
So now I'm going back in next Monday after being out 8 weeks. No assistant. We advertised right before I went to the hospital. They hired, while I was away, somebody with no experience in the business at all.
Oh, yeah.
So I have to teach them everything
Yeah.
while getting the tax rate set.
My God. Somebody totally green with no experience.
They've never worked in the municipal sector. They're a real estate agent right now.
Oh, so they gotta maybe some,
No, what I also have to do is say to them, whatever you learned as a real estate agent, you have to unlearn when you when you assess houses.
yeah, right.
Everything they teach you, we do the opposite.
Yeah.
You cannot look at it.
Can we adjourn the meeting just so you can stop the recording?
Yes,
I think,
make a
yeah, I think
motion.
everything is, was I updated you on just 10, so October 3rd, 7 PM, Thursday night,
Okay,
unless something comes up.
Vin made a motion at 8 PM on the dot to adjourn.
Okay.
Second,
Okay, all in favor, Mr. Roy,
Mr. Roy says aye.
Mr. Kent,
there is none.
Mr. Rudden says aye. We are
Officially adjourned.
officially adjourned, and we meet again on October 3rd.
We stopped the recording.